how are you? I really hope that you are well. So September time in the UK is back to school time, and this always feels like a bit of a sad time to me because my son goes back to school and we haven't got those carefree days of the summer holidays anymore. So I'm in need of a feel-good project, something to pick me up and put a bit of positivity into my day. I think that would be really helpful. I'm very interested in the idea of a daily practice, a daily sewing practice that is very intentional. Something a bit like a temperature quilt. Now, if you're not sure what a temperature quilt is, I'll very quickly tell you. So a temperature quilt is a quilt that usually involves a very simple block. Maybe it's a square with a circle on top, like Jo Avery's temperature quilts, which are very beautiful. And the idea is that the colours for the quilt are chosen depending on the temperatures for that day. So you need to create a scale. So it might be that you have temperatures from -2 to 0 are all dark blue, and then 1 to 5 degrees are light blue, etc. And then maybe your backing square is the low temperature for that day and your circle on top is the high temperature for that day, something like that. So the colours are determined by what the weather is that day. I think it's a really lovely idea, and you can really get some interesting designs and interesting quilts and even blankets for crochet and knitting. But temperature blankets and temperature quilts are not for me. I really like choosing the colours, and I'm just not drawn to the idea of the weather choosing them. It just doesn't really speak to me. But that daily practice of working on a block each day really does speak to me. So I want to create something taking inspiration of the daily practice from a temperature quilt, but putting a different spin on it. So I've had quite a few ideas and I wanted to share them with you. So it could be that the quilt will be a gratitude quilt. So every day you make a block and you think about what you're grateful for, and perhaps you note that down in a notebook, just a sentence each day. Maybe you incorporate that into your block by embroidering a word on it or something like that. It could be a quilt of positive affirmations, so you can buy positive affirmation cards that have really uplifting sentences on them, and you could pick a card each day, read that sentence and make your block and keep that thought in your mind, and that could be a really nice way to set yourself up for the day. Now, if you really love nature, then there are quite a few nature books that you can get which are like diaries. So my mum has this one, I bought it for her, it's called Wonderland, and every day it's separated into months, and then there's the date at the top, and you can read the passage. Maybe you go on a nature walk to look for those things as well. Think about those elements of nature, or maybe incorporate them into your block each day. There's another book as well, Nature Writing for Every Day of the Year. So these anthologies in which you get a different thing to read each day is another really nice practice. So you've got the very mindfulness of reading the passage. My son has a poem for every day book, so you could read the poem and then think about those positive thoughts that you get from the poem or the passage whilst you are working on your quilt. In terms of ongoing projects, I have my Happy Memories quilt, which isn't very big. I want to make it bigger. It's not a daily project for me because everything is inspired by things that I love, and I just work on this when I feel like it. So it's not really a daily practice. However, it is a project that I absolutely love and I can't wait to come back to. And I will make a tutorial soon for squaring off the edges, which is something a lot of people have asked me for. So in other ideas, you could do a daily Bible verse, or you could do daily meditation while you're doing your stitching. There are just quite a lot of different possibilities and ways in which you can make this project really unique to you. So I've chosen to follow this book along each day, Jane Austen for Every Day of the Year, a charming collection of wit and wisdom. So this book brings together passages from such treasured novels such as Pride and Prejudice, Emma and Persuasion, as well as excerpts from Austen's personal correspondence to inspire you with her timeless charm and wisdom for every day of the year. So a little passage or quote from Jane Austen every day to tie in with every day of the year will be just perfect and the ideal thing to lift me up each day. So you can really make this challenge, if you want to call it a challenge, or this daily practice exactly what you want it to be. You can tailor make it to what suits you. So for me, I feel like I need a little pick me up to start the day, and I'm going to try and do it in the morning. Whether that stays that way, whether I end up having to move it to the evenings, we'll see. It's a bit of an experiment, isn't it? I'm going to try and build this daily practice into my morning. So I'm going to read a passage and I'm going to think about that passage whilst I stitch my flower down. It's just a feel-good start to the day for me, because that's what Jane Austen does for me. But you might decide you might want to read, as I mentioned before, affirmations or something like that. So now I have my concept down of what I'm going to do as a bit of a celebration of Jane Austen, to read a quote every day and just feel inspired by her work, because it is something that I'm really passionate about and I really love. So I'm going to read a quote every day, and I am going to make a quilt block alongside that, and every single block is going to be the same, because I really feel like simplicity is key. Sometimes the simplest of designs can be so effective. So it's going to just be a simple hexagon flower each day. Now, because this is my feel-good quilt, I'm going to use my favourite size of hexagon, and that is the 1/2 inch hexagon. And I think this will work really well because the flowers won't be too big, and therefore 365 of them won't be ginormous, I think. Now I have lots of hexagons already prepared, which is going to set me up for success with this project. So if you're thinking of starting something like this as well, it's good to get ahead at the start, I think. So I've got a couple of boxes of these hexagons already basted, and it's going to be perfect for scraps as well, which you know is something that I really love. So we're ticking 2 boxes at the same time, really. We are building in this daily practice of positivity and daily sewing, but also using up scraps as well, which is definitely one of my favourite pastimes. Now I'm going to stitch the flowers onto backing fabric, and a while ago from Hobbycraft I just bought this fat quarter bundle of pastel shades. It's like a pastel rainbow. This one seems to stand out quite a bit, but it is a nice colour, so I think I will leave it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up, press all of my fabrics, and then I'm going to see what size square I can cut out of them to use them in the most effective way, so I haven't got much waste left. So what I'm going to do is open up the fat quarter bundle, press all of the fabrics, and then work out what size square I need to fit my hexagon flower onto, and then cut all of the squares and hope. I'd like to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is FlexiSpot. FlexiSpot very kindly sent me their E7 Pro standing desk, and I think this is an excellent piece of furniture for the craft room, particularly if you're short on space, because it can perform multiple functions. I have the white tabletop with white legs, and it is the 55-inch table. It's really solidly made. There is an instructional video to help you put it together, and I just find this to be so useful. I can have it at perfect standing height for me when I want to press fabric or cut fabric, and if I want to sit down and sew or sit down to work, I can adjust it for that purpose as well. So if you're short on space in your craft room, then this could be ideal because it can really perform multiple functions for you. I was so impressed with how it glides up and down. You can see my drink doesn't even move in the cup. it is that smooth. This desk is really strong. It can take a weight of up to 160 kilograms, so you can certainly put your sewing machine on it. If you'd like to find out more about the E7 Pro desk, then I will leave a link in the description box below, and you can use my offer code, which is YTE730, and that will save you an extra $30 off the E7 Pro standing desk. Thank you so much to FlexiSpot for sponsoring today's video. So I have just pressed all of my fabric and realised that my calculations are definitely going to be way out. I am definitely going to need more fabric, so I will probably purchase a couple more of the same bundles if I can. They were expensive, I remember thinking, because it isn't the highest quality fabric, but I love the colours, so I'm going to get a couple more of those and work out all of the quilt maths to make sure I've got the right amount of fabric before I even start. If you'd like all of the details, the inspiration behind it, all in written form with the measurements and the amount of hexagons I'm going to need, I'll work all of that out for what I'm doing, and I'll put it into a PDF, and I will make that available through my newsletter. So if you'd like a copy of that, then I will send it out for anyone who signs up to my newsletter, and also people who are already on the list. And I will put it available on Patreon as well. So I'll leave a link in the description box below where you can sign up to my newsletter, and then you will get a copy of that PDF. It will have all of the information in, all of the calculations will be worked out for you, so then you can get started too. Now, one thing that I think is really important for setting yourself up for success with something like a daily habit is to get prepared. So like I mentioned, I've got my boxes of hexagons. I actually got this new box, which is a hexagon shape, and each of the little compartments is a triangle. And I bought this because a lovely lady who came to my classes at Festival of Quilts had one, and she showed me it, and I just thought that is just the perfect storage. It's by a brand called Melli, so if you can see there, Melli, and I bought it in TK Maxx, and I think it was about £8, something like that, 10 at the most. It wasn't very expensive. It's very cute, and I have already been working on some hexagon flowers to set me up. I haven't applied them to backing fabric yet because I was still working that out, but this is getting me going, and when I get in the flow I will be making the hexagon flower and appliquing it onto backing fabric as my whole daily practice. It will be all of those steps, but I've already done some flowers because this is going to help me if I have to miss a day, for example, in the future, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. What do we do when we can't keep up with the daily challenge and life gets in the way? So far I've also cut up quite a few squares to get me going, but I am going to spend a bit of time later today probably cutting up the rest of them, so I've got lots and lots of squares. And I think this is the key, really, having your hexagons basted, not all of them for the entire project, but enough to keep you going for maybe a month, just to really, set yourself up. And I'm going to cut enough squares for that as well, and then have another session maybe in a month's time cutting up more squares, basting more hexagons, because that's really going to be the thing that sets me up for success. Having things prepped and ready means I just get them out and sew. And I've even gone as far as to pair up my next hexagon flower. So I'm going to stitch this together now, and very importantly, I'm going to set a timer and I'm going to film myself stitching it together so we can see how long it takes to put one together and sew it to the background fabric. And that's how we're going to really know, is this doable? Because if there's too much work for a daily practice, then it's not really going to be doable. But if it's, I think, under half an hour, then there's a chance I can keep up with it. Let's go. I've threaded my needle and I've set my flower out there. I've also folded my square in half and half again to find the centre, which is going to help me for the applique part. Obviously there's the reading part at the beginning, but that won't take very long at all. But I'm not rushing here, you know, this is a slow and mindful process. But we'll just see how long it takes, just out of interest, because as I said, you know, if it's going to be something that takes too long, then it's possibly not going to be the right thing for a daily practice. Now I'm using a particularly long thread. I'm using Deco Bob. So I'm using a longer than usual thread because I want to keep the thread on and use that for the applique stage as well. Now one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about whilst I'm stitching them together is about falling behind, because this is one of the things that has stopped me ever really doing daily challenges before, because I don't like the pressure feeling. I don't like to feel I've got to do something, or I've now got a backlog and I need to catch up and there's 10 to do because I haven't done any for 10 days. That's not fun, and that sort of defeats the purpose for me anyway. So it's up to you how you set a rule, if you like, for this. I think what I will probably do is just go easy on myself. So if I miss a day because life happens, then I'm not going to think I've got to catch up. I'll just keep going the next time I can fit it in, and if I've got extra time, I'll do an extra one if I feel like it. But having them mount up and feel like I'm getting behind isn't a nice feeling, so I'm not going to allow myself to feel that. At the end of the day, the idea behind doing this is for joy. So when you suddenly feel like it becomes a chore, it's not fun anymore, and that's not what it's supposed to be. For me, the idea is that building a little daily habit of just making what to me is the most joyful project, and that is a hexagon flower. Just one a day, and if I miss a day, so be it, I'll carry on. But I am going to do, I think, 368, because that is a nice number that can be divisible into even rows, and I'll put all of the details into that PDF I mentioned, so don't forget to have a look for that and sign up for my newsletter to get it. But yeah, I think I will just go easy on myself if I fall behind, because this is a hobby after all, isn't it? And sometimes we do place rules on ourselves and deadlines and pressure, and very quickly when you do that, it can really become something that's not fun anymore, and that's the last thing we want, isn't it? So another reason for choosing the Jane Austen book is that this year is the 250th anniversary of Jane Austen's birth, and wouldn't it have been great if I had thought about doing this project at the beginning of the year and worked my way through it all year? But I didn't. I only just thought of it now, so it's fine. We're going to do it for the last half of the year and carry it into next year. And really it doesn't matter, because if you're a Jane Austen fan like I am, then you don't just become a fan of somebody for a year. It's lifelong, so carrying it into next year is absolutely fine for me. So I've had to stop a little bit and adjust things for filming purposes, but we're on 8.5 minutes and I've got 3 hexagons left to stitch on. So I just stopped the timer as I finished the hexagon flower, and the timer says 15 minutes 26 seconds to make the hexagon flower, so more or less that's how long it took. Now I haven't cut my thread, I've kept that attached because that's what I want to use to apply it to the background fabric. Also worth noting that I'm using Hexiform, which is not paper. Hexiform is a fabric and it's designed to be left in, so that will eliminate any time for pressing and removing the papers. And I'm also going to do some embroidery in the centre at some stage as well for each one, because I just love putting a little lazy daisy and French knot flower in the centre. So I'm just going to start my timer again, and this time I'm going to just put a fair bit of glue on the back of the flower to hold it in place, and then I don't really need any pins. I just like doing this. Now my square is 4 inches, so when they're sewn together they will finish at 3.5 inches square, so there won't be much space between the flower and the edge of the fabric, and that's the way I wanted it really. I just wanted a very small block because we're going to have lots of them. So now I just need to make sure that everything's straight, because that's going to be noticeable if it isn't straight, especially when they're all lined up. So that just takes a moment. Make sure I'm happy with that. And then I need my thimble because I can't sew this type of stitch, an applique stitch, without my thimble, so I need to put that on. It's just a case of going into the backing fabric and out into the shape and just stitching all the way around like this. So just looking at the backing fabric with the Liberty fabrics that my flower is made of, all scraps, just looking at the colours together is just bringing me a lot of joy. And I just think this project is going to absolutely be the perfect way to start the day. I really hope I can build it into my morning routine somehow. Mornings are not actually too chaotic in our house, so I should be able to build it in. Maybe when I'm having my first coffee of the day, I can read a bit of the Jane Austen book and the chapter for that day, but it's not really a chapter, it's just a short passage, and then I can make a start on my flower for the day. Also, I'm going to have some hexagon flowers here at the studio, hexagons at the studio ready for me to work on, and have some at home as well, so if I don't manage to do it at home then I could do it at lunchtime here. One of the problems of using the same thread is that it can get tangled, so I just need to be careful and untangle this, or I might have to start again with a new piece of thread. It happens. There we go. If you do find your thread getting tangled, then you could always cut off that end that seems to get caught up in everything, and also just let it straighten out a little bit. So that little hexy flower is all done now. I think it's going to be, oh, I don't know, I actually didn't look which way up I put it on the fabric. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, so that's all done. When I look at my timer, it says 26 minutes 52 seconds, so it came in under half an hour, which I think makes it a manageable task for every day. I think without filming it would take me a little bit less time, so maybe 2 or 3 minutes less, but it's not a rush. So with the reading and everything like that, it's definitely something that's going to come in under half an hour. Do remember that if you're taking papers out, that will just add a few more seconds, but hopefully not too much. And I'm going to add embroidery as well, but I'm just thinking about whether I want to join my squares together and then applique the hexagons on or not. I don't know. I feel like they might not all be perfectly straight if I just do them like this. It's definitely not perfectly straight, but that's something to improve upon, isn't it, as we go along. So I really hope that you like that idea of just making something really simple but building in that daily practice. So let me know if you're going to make one too. Please leave a message in the comments below and tell me what block you're going to pick, how you're going to choose your colours. Is it going to be a temperature quilt? Is it going to be positive affirmations, a quote a day, something like that? And we'll check back in with each other maybe at the beginning of next year to see how the project is going and to discuss the effects of it. Is it difficult to try and keep up with it every day, or is this manageable? And that's another reason for choosing a simple block, something that can be done every day without taking up too much time. Does it lead us to feel more creative and give us more ideas? And if you're in a bit of a slump, does it help to pull you out of it? I'm really interested to see the effects of it, really. Don't forget that there is the community page here on YouTube. So way back when we did the Happy Memories quilt, we didn't have this function, and it would have been so lovely. So I asked people to send me photos over email, and I made a video where we could look at each other's quilts, but we don't need to do that anymore. On the community page, you can post, you can put a photo of what you've made, and you can write about it, and we can all leave you comments. And I just love that feature. It's really nice to have that two-way street where it's not just me sharing, you can share here too, and we can really strengthen our community through that. So please do use that feature if you've made any of my patterns or any EPP pattern or anything really, anything goes. We celebrate all creativity here, but if you're getting involved with this project, then please also share your progress. It doesn't have to be finished. We know that we're just in it for the process in this corner of the internet, aren't we? Thank you so much for being here, and I'm really excited to see what you make. Take care. Bye bye.